Hello and welcome to my channel, Recap King Studio. Today, we're going to review the 2017 drama film The Professor. In the opening scene, a guy learns that he has lung cancer. Richard is the man's name, and he is a professor of literature at the university where Richard is severely depressed and spends the entire day at work trying to understand what is really going on, but in the end he explodes during dinner. Richard sits at the table with his daughter Olivia and wife Veronica. The man wanted to report his illness, but suddenly Olivia admits that she likes girls. Veronica. To provide for his daughter, Olivia curses, and the insulted girl departs, leaving Richard alone. Veronica then claims that she is having an affair with Henry. When Veronica called Henry a pile of rubbish with no eggs, Richard's boss Richard was perplexed as to why Henry even existed. Veronica asks Richard what he wanted to say at the start of supper. Richard laughs off what he meant to say about how much he regrets having only 2 eggs, and then responds that Henry had as many as 3 eggs. Richard gives a lecture the following day, and while doing so, an audience member grades the caliber of the pupils he wants to teach in the future and those who doesn't care about feminism, and that the last thing he wants right now is to say goodbye to the pupils as I don't care about some kind of gender disparity if any of the kids know where to acquire pot. Richard stated he needed to go on an emotional binge and that it is time to cancel. He will be pleased to wait for this individual in his office. Richard leaves his students perplexed as he shuts the door behind him. After drinking with his best friend and co-worker Peter in a bar, Richard begs Peter for assistance in arranging a vacation and tells his friend about it. His analysis: Richard offered Veronica not to inform her daughter about their family the following day after Peter tried to reassure him and calm him down. Discord: Richard offers the wife total freedom in her relationships with her lover, but he also decides he no longer wants to be faithful. Despite this, they communicate well and get drunk on wine and medications. This evening, when Olivia brought her girlfriend home, the parents weren't in the best of moods to notice that Olivia was ashamed of them and took her lover away. The parents continued to drink and enjoy their time in bed at night. Admission: during a talk, the professor suggests that students switch locations and go to a pub where Richard shares wise words with the guys. The waitress approaches them and Richard begins to flirt with her. Richard raises a toast and says that he is cheating on his wife with her. Richard gets to know his students who stayed. He asks a girl named Claire to talk about herself. It turns out that she is Henry's niece, with whom Richard's wife is having an affair. However, Claire claims that she doesn't love her uncle too. Good times with the waitress while Veronica is having fun with Henry. Richard returns to the table and asks the students to tip the waitress generously. He also gives the feminist a task to read Moby Dick, and the students are shocked by his actions. Later, at a family dinner, Richard offers Veronica an opportunity to make amends with her daughter. The following school day, the feminist student addresses the class in Richard, in which she shares her thoughts on the writing that the professor read, and comes to the conclusion that she started to change for the better after some time. A student drives up to Richard's workplace and offers him closeness after Richard thanks him and tries the cupcakes made with marijuana. When Olivia's father Richard asks her daughter whether she's pleased with her partner, Olivia responds that she's very happy, and the father is ecstatic and proud of his daughter. In the classroom, Richard took pupils. Richard asks him to pour whiskey and accepts to such a bizarre offer. They consume beer and illegal narcotics on the college grounds. When Peter sees Richard hurting himself, he takes him to a support group for cancer sufferers, where the professor listens to the patients' experiences and argues that they are wasting their time because there is so little left. He then offers to take everyone out to have fun, but nobody accepts. After becoming extremely drunk, Richard wishes everyone luck and heads to the pub with Peter. Pete heard Richard's plan and decided not to wait for the conclusion but to go instead. Claire visits the bar. Richard sends a rather inebriated Peter about the betrayal, and now Richard is threatening to inform Henry's wife of everything in exchange for his silence. When Claire speaks to her class about the need and significance of love in this world while looking at Richard with sad eyes, Richard finishes his speech about the need to live as you want, otherwise everything was in vain. In his office, Richard becomes ill and he collapses to the floor in this state, where he is discovered by Peter. Richard then asks a friend to accompany him to church there.
Richard appears to be saying farewell to a buddy just as Peter is expressing his views about his life. Peter is unable to contain his tears and they hug one another to comfort each other. Richard thanks Veronica for their friendship and tells her that despite their betrayals, he is still grateful that she is his wife and that he still loves her. When dinner is over, Richard bids his wife farewell and tells her to always try to be happy. Richard hugs the tearful Veronica and gives her one last loving look before they part ways. At home, Richard doesn't have time to get ready before his daughter Olivia arrives, and Olivia is sad because of this. Olivia inquired about her father's whereabouts and Richard then tells her about his condition and bids his daughter farewell, telling her he's proud of her and that he'll miss her. Richard constantly advises his daughter to go straight and not deviate from her course. Richard sends his daughter one more kiss, and Olivia follows his gaze as he drives away from home, halting at the crossroads. Olivia looks at his father as he sits in the car. After giving the issue some thought, Richard turns off the road, travels straight, and picks up. Later, Henry arranges for Veronica and Richard to attend a company dinner. Right in front of her husband and wife, Richard instantly approaches Henry's wife and gives her a passionate kiss. Henry denies anything occurred at dinner, but Richard stands up and informs everyone of his illness.